Welcome to another episode of WorkHARDaholics. Our lovely producer is away this week, and so had a little bit of a learning curve because we've recently switched our software, and because I have been happily reliant upon our lovely technician, I hadn't really bothered to learn it. So starting a little late today, but hopefully better late than never. That's the hope. All right, so if those of you join us for the first time, and you might be wondering, who am I, or what exactly is a work hardaholic? Well, let me tell you. I am Shirley Crawford, the Executive Director of the Women's Business Center, RVA, located at 1510 Woodlawn Drive, directly across the street from the Kroger at Woodlawn. I've been doing small business consulting for over 25 years. That's longer than some of you have been alive. And I love what I do. I love what I can contribute to my community. It's an amazing experience. So glad to be here and glad to be a part of that. And then to help you figure out what exactly is a work hardaholic, you might want to go to Webster's, or, you might want to find your local dictionary and wherever you are, but you won't see it because I made the word up. A work hardaholic is someone who is always doing something. We don't rest on our laurels. We don't wait for the world to take it us. We take it to the world. But here's the thing. As someone who is doing so much and giving so much and being so much, sometimes we neglect us. Sometimes we forget to take care of us. And that's why we come together every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, except for today, to make sure that we are learning tools and techniques to be more efficient, to find a community that also understands that, hey, I like to work on a Saturday. I do like to work Saturdays. I really prefer working on Sundays after church. But hey, we all have our preferences. And no one here judges you for that. But then also helping you have the tools that you need to do all these things in, say it with me, balance. Imbalance will never lead you anyplace good. That's why there's high blood pressure or stress or distress. We want to eliminate all of that. And that's why we welcome you to Workaholic. All right, on that note, I'm just really excited that I was able to get this new software running. You all just don't fully understand that, but I'm really excited just for that. Okay, so we always start off each week with our word for the week. And let me tell you why. Here's the thing about communication. We spend a lot of time talking and not necessarily listening. And then even when we're listening, we listen through our own lens. And so here's the deal. I just came back from Indiana. I was in Indiana for the weekend. And so that's still the United States. I'm still in the same country, but they have colloquialisms. They have regional dialect, things that they say to one another that makes sense to them because everyone there is experiencing the same thing, right? So when I talk about a deer in Virginia versus a deer in Indiana, I want you to know they're very different. They are absolutely, positively very different. So there's different context there. So what we try to do when we talk about our word for the week, for some of you, it's expanding your vocabulary. For others, it's making sure that we're all on the same page. And for some of you like me, every once in a while, it's like reminding you, hey, this word exists and you can use it. And so, and of course, we always have a theme for what we're talking about for the week. And so our word for this week is expropriate. Expropriate. I don't know why, I just love the way that sounds. But words do it for me. I don't know about you. But really, expropriate is what you're thinking about when you think about eminent domain. So it normally means that there's a body of land that's normally being seized, taken away, normally by the state, but it can be in other cases as well, right? So the bottom line is you have it and someone else says, oh, that was great, taking that away. They would expropriate your property, which sounds insane, but especially as a citizen of the United States, it happens all the time. Let your land be on in the way of a railroad or something else, and it gets snatched away. Bye-bye. Okay, so once again, that's our word for this week, expropriate. And so part of the reason why I was so fascinated with that particular word this week is because I really want to focus on taking control of your life. As an entrepreneur, it's really easy to let others hijack your day, to let others come in and just kind of like, because you come in first thing in the morning, and what do most of you all do, right? Most people open up their email. That's like the first thing they do. Maybe you say hello, grab a cup of coffee, get into your office or to your cube or however you're working, whatever your space is. And then you proceed to check your email or check your phone messages. Here's the thing about that. And part of the reason why I love the book we're sharing today, which is Never Check Email in the Morning. Part of the reason why I love this book is because I wholeheartedly concur, right? I firmly believe that the principles shared here. So I'm going to share it straight from the book. So it's not just Shirley's thoughts, because you've probably heard me say it before. I'm going to share it from our author, right? So Never Check Email in the Morning. And it's by Julie Morgenstern. And so she's written some other books that are really popular as well. And this is like, once again, you all know I share the books from my library or books that you all have shared with me. And so this one, it's from my library. It's been around the bend. But I'm going to share some of the pieces of it because I think it's really important as an entrepreneur in particular, but even as an employee or someone else out in the community and society, this is really impactful information. So it's talking about how you can improve your productivity. And so the question is like, what's standing in your way? What's keeping you from being the most productive that you could be? And the question is, it could be you or it could be them. It could be you. If any of these are you, you could be the problem in your own life. So it could be you if you don't plan well, you lack confidence on some tasks, you are unable to prioritize, you're perfectionist. Perfection is your enemy. You've heard me say that before. You feel guilty saying no. You gravitate towards quick, easy tasks. You're poor at estimating how long things take. That is one that a lot of people are guilty of. You don't really think about how much time it takes to do the task. All right. You're physically disorganized, or you start many things but finish none of them. Okay. Then you could be the reason that your time, your day, you're not as efficient as you could be. You're not getting as much done as you could potentially be doing. You could be the problem. Or it could be them if your boss, customers, or coworkers are always in crisis mode. How many times have you all heard me talk about the fact that someone else's crisis doesn't make it yours? Someone else's procrastination, and now that they're at a deadline, doesn't make it your deadline. That's not the way it works. And you have to be empowered to be able to push back. Like, I hear you. I understand. My standard like I tell people in general, my turnaround time is 24 hours. So if you email me or call me, I will respond within one business day. That's my norm. I will often respond before that, but my commitment is one business day. For a lot of you, someone calls you and it's like, oh, I got this email. Oh, I got this phone call. Oh, someone came running to my door and they're in tears and this is happening. I must stop what I'm doing. No. Okay. The problem could be them. If your boss is a perfectionist, the corporate culture is driven by fear. That's a whole message into itself. The company is understaffed. And isn't that where a lot of us are right now? Like, people have quit. They've been sick. They don't want to physically be in the office place. Everyone's trying to hire right now. So that could be the issue as well. Coworkers are not pulling their own weight. And especially when you're not the boss. Like, they're literally coworkers and you each have responsibilities, and somehow or another things keep falling to you, or you keep taking up the slack for others rather than make sure that they get on their job or leave it to the supervisor to manage. I'm just saying. Meetings are poorly run. I hate meetings. Like, I do. I'm an introvert, so I really don't like to socialize at all. but I really hate. Yeah. I don't know how if I could describe it any plainer. I cannot stand a meeting. And the prevailing reason why I hate meetings is because people get together and they're doing it because it makes them feel like they're accomplishing something. Like, if you can send it to me in an email and we can respond back and forth, why do I have to look in your eyes to be able to engage in this information? Just tell me what I need to know. People don't get to the point. And so meetings for me are 90% of the time a waste of time. And so I hate them with all that's within my heart. Now, that's not the same as a consultation. I mean, a meeting, like, here's the staff, let's all come together and do what? And what meeting should take 3 hours and 4 hours and 5 hours? Like, why? Please, por qué? Tell me why. Anyway, that's one of the ways you can know that maybe it's them that's causing you not to be productive. Because if you are not self-employed, I'm sorry, then your boss is the one telling you what meetings to attend and where to go. And if that's the case, and they're just running them poorly, then you're stuck. Sorry. Désolé. Or it could be you're lacking materials or direction from leadership, right? You have an unrealistic workload, which sometimes goes back to, are you understaffed? You work in an interruption-rich environment. Like, there are certain places where people are just determined that what we do is we stop you from doing work to talk to you, or to, commiserate, or like, get your job done. That's what you're paid for, right? But anyway, the point of this amazing book, which I really am very, very fond of, the point of never check email in the morning is, I even go back to our word for this week, right? Expropriate. Because what that really means is that someone else is hijacking your property, hijacking something that belongs to you. And in this case, I would say, it's not the normal use of the term, but I'd say they're expropriating your time. They're expropriating your productivity. And I really like this book because it really helps you think through, like, what's the cause of that lack of productivity, and what things you can do. We can't control everything. It's unfortunate, but it's true. We don't have control over everything. But there are things that are within your control, and you can start by not allowing others to dictate your day to you. You all heard me talk about all the time goal setting and quantifiable goals, and starting off your day normally with 3 to 5 items that you want to accomplish. You plan to accomplish realistically within your day. And so when someone else comes in and they're not the supervisor, they don't outrank you. They just have their own concern. And I know sometimes people are going through and things are happening and you want to be there for people, but if it throws you and your day under the bus, then you have to consider, should I be responding to this or not? And so one way to make sure that you control your day is that you set, like, they talk about the email piece, but I know a technique I used to use is that I set specific hours for external people or internal people to come into my office. Right? So if everyone knows your open office hours, think back when you're in college, your professor had specific office hours. You can set yours too. So if I know that I have specific office hours of 1 to 3 or all afternoon, you are welcome to come see me in my office all afternoon. That means that I'm blocking every morning to work on what I need to work on, whatever crisis you have. You got to figure it out. If the building's not on fire, you figure out, you make the adjustments, and then that person can come to you during your office hours. So now you have control over your time, your day, your life, your existence. Your productivity can be higher because you are allotting time for you to accomplish that which you need to get done, and not allowing other people to hijack or expropriate your day. Okay, something else that she shares in the book. And so there are times where, when you're looking at, like I talk about, scheduling those 3 to 5 things that you say, this is what it's Wednesday, September 29th. Here are, or at least it is for me. When you're watching this, I don't know. But I'm going to say, here are the 3 to 5 things I'm going to get done today. Okay. But a lot of times what we will do is, rather than ranking the things that are important, and this is what she talks about here on page 74, and never check email in the morning. She talks about the fact that A lot of times we put the small task first because we like having that check mark on our list, which I do. I'm not going to lie. I feel a great sense of accomplishment when I can at least check something off of my schedule. But sometimes if that thing is really inconsequential and it's not as important, like right now, I had an MOU I had to revise. I finished an RFP. We're about to start doing some grant research because we need to be submitting some. And like, if you know anything about writing a grant or doing an RFP or anything, they take a lot of time. All right. So that could be your whole day. It could be your whole week. It could be like several months before you get that sense of accomplishment. But if you're not chunking away at it every day, it will never get done. And you will always have that looming over your head, depressing you. So she talks about getting the little stuff done first, feels satisfying, but it might not be the right thing for you. All right. And then she talks about some other examples. So all in all, I highly recommend never check email in the morning. And part of the reason for me is because, okay, I had to bring up my Statue of Liberty green M&M today, because I want you to have that freedom. All right. I want you to have the freedom to know that you are in control of your day, your productivity, and yes, even your destiny. What you want to accomplish is up to you. These are things that you determine. So once again, our book it moment, in case I didn't say, our book it moment for today is Never Check Email in the Morning by Julia Morgenstern. All right. I highly suggest you give it a read, give it a look, especially for those of you who feel like you never get anything done. There are a lot of great tools in here that you could be utilizing to help you feel like you're having a more productive day, or at least knowing that what you did today is what you meant to do today, and that someone else didn't, once again, expropriate or hijack your day and your time. All right. And so as we often continue from there, with that in mind, I wanted to share your time tool technique for this week. Okay, so for a lot of you as small business owners, or even for those of you who are entrepreneurs looking to be leaders in your community or want to be considered a subject matter expert, right? How do you do that? How do people get to know you and the work that you're doing? So I'm here in Richmond, Virginia. How is it that Good Morning America can know about me in New York? How is it that I've been written up in various magazines and newspapers? How do they get to find you? How do they know that you exist? How do they know that you know what you're talking about? Well, let me introduce you to a tool. We always call it HARO, HARO, but it stands for Help a Reporter Out. Help a Reporter Out.com. I believe it's .com. The web address is on there for you, right? Here's the deal, and it's something I share. This is a tool and that I share, a tool and a technique that I share with many of my clients, because if you want the speaking engagements, you want the sales, because there are, like, I'm a small business consultant. There are a lot of small business consultants out there, because what I have seen a lot recently is someone does one job, they help somebody out, and all of a sudden they're a consultant. But maybe they have a better presentation than you. I sometimes laugh because some of the people that people mention to me, and I'm just like, okay, I know their history, I know their story, I know who they are. And I also know that that's not their area, but they have better social media, they have whatever. How do you represent yourself and get out there so that you can be invited to be the speaker, to be the presenter? How do you do it? There are several ways that you can be working on your branding. But here's one in particular that is free to you and can really be effective, like to really open your audience. Like, I think about the fact that people that I have known for forever didn't know what I did, which I thought was amazing. But not only, but what happened was I got a couple of TV spots, and not pay for play. There's a difference. I didn't pay for my spots. I don't pay for my spots. I was invited as a subject matter expert, and I've done a variety of things as far as newspaper, magazine, television, etc. And because they saw, I saw you on TV, or I saw you in that article, then they're like, oh my God, what do you do? Oh my God, I didn't know. Oh, you must be but I was that all along. Or they saw me speak. I didn't. So the state got you to speak, or they got you to speak, or you must be doing something. This is one of those tools that will help you get that kind of acknowledgement and credibility. And so it's helpareporterout.com. So here's the thing. It used to be a time where the news was 1 hour every evening. The family sat down at 6 p.m. to watch Walter Cronkite. I don't know why I can't say his name. Or whomever on the screen give you the information about what was happening in the world today. And then we got to a place where there were 24-hour-a-day news outlets. And then we amplified it. And now, for those of you who get your news by Twitter, there's so much news and information that's shared very rapidly all the time on so many platforms. Please be careful to make sure your platforms are accurate and true. Just a sidebar. But there's so much news out there that reporters who are on traditional channels or who are writing for Wall Street Journal or Chicago Tribune or whatever have to find ways to get information. Did you know that almost every last one of them, if you want to do it the hard way, the long way, every channel. So I'm in Richmond. We predominantly go with 6, 8, 12, CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox. I'm sure I'm skipping some. The public access channel. Those are right here, right? In addition to all of your radio stations and podcasts and everything else. Okay, so each one of them generally has on their website an email address or a phone number that you can call for the news desk to share a news event. All right. Every newspaper, they all have a calendar, and you can actually sign up for an account and post your events or activities to that calendar. The reporters are looking for a story. Do you have one? Share that story. All right. So generally speaking, that's just the general practice. I use the example when I was working for another organization. October is a small business month, October, November. October in general is where most of the small business activities are happening. And so recognizing that, I did a whole pitch about how to start a business or tips and tools for small business owners. I reached out to a local station. It was NBC here in the Richmond area. And I said, here's what I propose. They were like, we love it. And so they came by, shot footage, and then we took a team into the studio, did the phone lines, answered small business questions. I've done the same for public access channel and for other mediums as well. And it was simply a phone call. I did not know. At this point, I tend to know someone at each of the stations. At that point, I didn't know anybody at that station. And it constantly changes. But we got so much buzz because of that, right? You know yourself, if you saw someone on television, all of a sudden they're validated, whether they're really great or not. But it's a validation factor. So help a reporter out. What happens is that reporters say, I'm writing an article about XYZ. I'm doing a show about ABC. And they'll ask a couple questions and they want you to respond. And if they use your response, they might either call you or reach out to you to be a featured guest. And this has been on everything. You can think of O Magazine. Like a lot of times they're using like large publications to smaller publications. But either way, these are clips you can now be using as part of your media package to show that you've been a guest of, or you were a quoted subject matter expert, and you're reaching an audience that you might not have ever come in contact with before that time. So it's a really cool way of doing it. And once again, free to you. It just takes a moment. So when you go to the site, helpareporterout.com, you create an account and it tells you how to respond to the reporters. It gives you a whole format, and the reporters will vary. Sometimes they will share your information, your answer, and not reach out to you. So I also keep Google alerts that I do with certain my name, my business names, other people who are a part of my association, so that if someone is quoting or talking about us in an article, I get a notification and I can go see if they're talking about us or someone else so that I can be aware. So sometimes they'll use your information and they won't call you back and say, "Surely, we loved your answer." No, they'll just use it. Or they might reach out to you for more information. And a lot of times they'll be like, yes, give us your name, your byline information, your website. And then that's another way that your information gets shared. So it's an amazing way to get exposure for you, your product, your service, your business, your brand, all because you helped a reporter out. Ta! Very straightforward, but very, 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 very effective. So something to consider as we talk about like really taking control in various aspects of your life, especially your time. But in this case, take control of your branding. And here's an opportunity to do just that. All right. So I know that I did not share with you all. I want to have a moment to have a word from our sponsors. So as I mentioned, Christina is not in the studio today, which is why I'm in a whole different setup. And I'm playing around with new software. So kudos to me for getting this up and running today. But we do want to say a couple of shout outs. Special shout out to Fulton Bank. We love Linda Melton and the staff there. They are amazing, very helpful. And especially as a small business owner, it's beneficial to you to make sure that you have a relationship with your banker. I often talk about the 25 questions that I recommend asking your banker before you even get started to make sure that it's a good banking relationship. In addition to that, of course, a shout out to the Women's Business Center, RVA, where I'm currently located, 1510 Willow Lawn Drive, directly across the street from the Kroger at Willow Lawn. If you're looking for co-working space, if you're looking for office space, if you're looking for an advisor, if you're looking for a mailbox, for those of you who are looking to have an LLC, you have to have a physical address, and it cannot be a P.O. box. And it should not be your home address because that's public information. Anyone could look it up and knock at your door trying to find your business, and they could have good reasons or nefarious reasons. We'd rather not take the chance. So you can actually use our mailbox service for a minimal amount here at the Women's Business Center. In addition to that, shout out to the Imagine Media Lab, who I miss so very much today. Because they help us with our podcast. They produce our show. They are amazing with regards to any of your digital media needs. They have an amazing lab with all the software that you can think of. You can do a podcast. They do our commercials. They do an amazing amount of things for us and can help you as well. And they even have equipment that you can rent. So if you have the knowledge and you're trying to go out and you're going to shoot or you're going to do something else, you can actually do a rental. And they even have some training classes. So shout out to the Imagine Media Lab. Shout out to my partner who's normally here with me. But since we were going to do this, old school today, we're just you and me today. But to Socialita Christina, the social media influencer who can help you take your business above the noise to help you get recognized. We're talking about branding. So that's an amazing tool that you can be utilizing to make sure that people are aware of what you do, how you do, and why you can do it better. All right. So thus far, we talked about our word for the week, expropriate. I can say it. I can't. In addition to that, we talked about our book for our book for this moment, our booking moment. Never check email in the morning to help you do a better job of taking control of your day, your time, your resources, and stop letting other people hijack your day. We also talked about our time tool technique for those of you who are looking to brand yourself, to make more people aware of what you do, and to potentially have national reach, even international reach. Getting you before journalists. We recommended and shared with you the website helpareporterout.com, where you can go and create your own account there and then share your information and then have it shared to the world. Okay, with all that working that we're talking about, all the things that are happening, I keep coming back to really discussing expropriate with regards to property, but also making sure that you're not allowing others to take over your time, that you're not allowing others to hijack your day, to hijack your life. And here's the thing, I still go back to the book because I really think there's some great tools in here about Never Check Email in the Morning by Julia Morgenstern. and in general, a philosophy for you to have. It's like when you're with every day that you're starting, you should be thinking, what's really important? So when we talk about work hard, play harder, like I'm a firm believer in the weekend work. I don't work on Fridays, in case you all didn't know that. I do not work on Fridays. If you're calling me, emailing, you're like, why isn't she responding? Fridays are not a part of my vernacular. But I am famously known for working on a Saturday or a Sunday after church to get myself ready for the week. And that's part of my work hard. It's part of my work ethic. It's part of who I am. It's why I'm a workaholic and I don't apologize for it. That's the way that it works for me so that I can have a smooth week and I like it. I love coming in for a few hours on a Sunday afternoon. It gives me peace. There's no one to harass or who else has a need. And I can really focus on what I need to get done. Whatever that is for you as a workaholic, embrace it, love it, go forth in it. But what you want to keep in mind is what's really important. Everyone often, like I talked about in the book, lots of people come to you with their crisis. Like everything is like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And that doesn't make your day productive, right? If you can set aside the time for yourself to really figure out what's important and then really have the wisdom and the courage, and it says courage for a reason, because it takes guts to say, I hear you have an issue. I'm not addressing that right now. That's not on my priority list right now. That takes courage in a way that for some of you, you might not ever want to do. But then you will always wonder why it is that you can't be productive, why you always feel frustrated, why things are always troubling you. It's because you're allowing other people to hijack, to expropriate your day from you. And I say reclaim it. It's your life. It's your time. It's your energy. It's your life, right? So that's once again why I have our lovely Eminem Lady Liberty with us today, because I want you to be free to enjoy the life that you have before you without regret, without frustration, without animosity towards everyone else because they're making you. No one is making you anything. You're making decisions. And so be aware of that. So I love this quote. And so it's not mine, unfortunately, but I love it all the same. Ask yourself what is really important and then have the wisdom and courage to build your life around your answer. So I think back on my history, whereas I have had the jobs that paid well, like steady paycheck that were beautiful. Being an entrepreneur is risky. We all know it. It has lots of benefits, has lots of rewards, but there's lots of risk involved. And it's client based. So it might be like right now I'm getting checks in from clients, but it might be that next month either they're not coming in or they're slow, or you're working with an agency that pays 90 days, or like I talked about, larger corporations that sometimes pay every 6 months. There's a lot happening there. But it's really important to me when I talk about my work-life balance, when I talk about, the way that I want my life to be. When I'm looking at the examples that I see in here, I'm recognizing that what's really important to me is that, one, I have peace of mind. So I don't work with clients that I don't want to. I don't care how much you pay. If I don't want to work with you, I won't. Period. The end. And that might not be your luxury, but that's the life that I'm building around. I know what's important to me. My peace of mind is very important to me. So I don't work with people who could potentially send me over the edge. I don't have to, I don't want to, and I don't. But that means that I rank my peace of mind even above my income, because there are people who have approached me for work, and I know that they're the kind of client that I would fire, so I won't even hire them, right? I also know that for me, being there for my mother is extremely important for me. So that means I have created a life, whereas if she calls me right now, which I'm surprised she hasn't, she tends to call me during the show, that I can drop everything and I can go. That's the life that I've built. So the question for you is, what's important to you? Does your schedule show that that's what's important to you? Or is it just a theory? Is it just this fantasy that you've built that says, hey, this is really important, but you're doing none of the sort? If you're saying that family is really important to you, but your schedule is 75 hours a week in the office, and you come home tired and you're not spending any time with family, then are they really important to you? Just asking. Okay, at this point, we're about to sign off and say goodbye. But I have to tell you, first and foremost, October. So the next time I see you will be October. Okay, it's next week. It's not like it's really far away. So for next week's show, we start our next season of Workaholics. And I promise Christina will be back. So our producer will be back next week. So everything will look even more lovely than it looks today. All righty then. So I want you all to be prepared for that. If you are interested in being a sponsor, please drop us a line at admin@WorkHARDaholics.com. Also, if you are a small business owner and you'd like to be featured, you'd like us to share information about your product or service, drop a message to admin@WorkHARDaholics.com. We're going to be doing some features on small business owners, and I'm really excited about that. And there's lots of things that are coming up. So keep your eyes here. Lots coming. So I know right now we're having lots of conversations because group activities are coming back in full effect right now. So I implore you all to be safe, to exercise caution, to be wise in your action, to be aware and not be selfish. I was just having a conversation with someone who had been to an event, and someone at the event had COVID, or found out. I'm not sure if they knew in advance or not, because that would just be malicious. But they discovered that they had COVID, and they didn't want to share with everyone else that was the case. That would kind of be on the selfish side. I told you my mother always calls her on the show. She's calling right now. So we're about to wrap up, and I'm going to grab her phone call. So if you can, mask up, vaccinate, do whatever you need to do to make sure that you stay safe and those around you stay safe. And on that note, so that you can truly live a full, healthy, prosperous life. All right. So as we always say, live better, do better, be better. We miss you, Christina. And happy entrepreneuring. Until the next time, ta-ta.